Hey guys, you got Christina Gilchrist here, also known as the Dialysis Warrior Blind Chick, and I'm here with my Moosey boy, my Moose the Pomsky service dog, and...
Hey, what about me?
Oh yeah, Michael Gilchrist is here.
The caretaker.
And this is Living on Dialysis podcast.
And this is a disclaimer. We are not doctors. This is just the opinion of Living on Dialysis Facebook group. And always follow up any advice you have with your team and your doctors. And again, this is just an opinion. So if you don't like it, tell me yours. Bye.
Hey guys, this is Christina.
And Mike.
And I am super excited because today we have Karen and Ryan Campbell, and their story's amazing. So I can't wait to hear this. Karen, are you ready?
Hi. We are here. Yeah. Hi, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Not a problem. So we just saw that you just got married, right?
We did. Yep. We got married on the 30th of September.
Ooh, that's
my daughter's birthday.
Yeah, that's our daughter's birthday.
It's a good day.
It really is.
It really is. That's amazing. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.
So let's go ahead and get your kidney story real quick.
Not real quick. Take your time.
Yeah,
lady.
take your time.
I want to hear it.
Oh, well, let me just hit the points, like the major points then.
Okay.
I am 40 years old, and I was first diagnosed with kidney failure when I was about 25. It's from an autoimmune disease called IgA nephropathy. And my first transplant, I'm on my second transplant right now. So my first transplant was October 2008. Was
Oh my gosh. I got one in 2008 too. It was December.
You did?
I did.
Oh, that's crazy.
So
Yeah,
cool.
that's crazy.
Hell, you guys
Yeah,
probably
so-
passed each other in the hospital.
We might have.
I know, right?
Give each other a high five.
I know it.
On-
While walking around.
Isn't it the floor 10 in the tower? Yep.
Heck yeah. Great view.
That's awesome.
It's an amazing view. You always hate seeing it, though.
Yeah, I'm not stoked to be up there, but all the people are so awesome.
Yeah, they are.
So-
They're incredible.
Yeah. I had only been on dialysis about 10 months, and I had a chest port. I'm stoked to get that pulled out.
Okay.
Anyway, so it was my dad that gave me his kidney. It was a really good match.
That's
we had
awesome.
different blood types, but we were still, we were a good match. So that lasted.
You were
about
different
2
blood
years.
types?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
My
wow.
dad was the O blood type, and I'm at A.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
I think because of the relation, we were able to do it. It was a good match. But
Very
that
cool.
one went into rejection about a year after the transplant, and then it lasted another 3 years before I ended up back on dialysis.
Okay. I'm
So-
about the same, lady. This is insane.
Yeah. Tell me.
I'm the same. Mine lasted about a year before we knew we were rejecting, and I ended up going on dialysis about 3 years later.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, there's always a reason that you connect with people,
Yeah, it's true.
So
Yeah.
after you rejected, how long did you go on dialysis again?
So this round I ended up being on hemodialysis. So I got a fistula put in because they knew it was coming. It was just sort of a countdown to when I needed to start
Yeah.
Right.
the dialysis. So so I ended up being on hemodialysis for 6 years by the time I got my next kidney.
Oh my goodness. And your blood type's what?
I think I'm A negative. I'm definitely an A, but I can never remember negative or
Okay.
positive.
Okay, so then this next transplant, was it a living donor, cadaveric?
So it was cadaveric. July 2017 is when I got my current kidney. It's from an amazing young man who unfortunately passed away suddenly.
Oh.
And he was young. He was like 25. I've now been in contact with his family, and they're really amazing people, but it was a big loss for them.
Wow.
So that was hard. But it was a good match for me, and it's been a really, really solid kidney, so.
That's awesome.
So did you didn't have any relation with the match at all? It was just a random match?
No, it was a random match. So he actually lived in California at the time.
Oh.
And so I was in Utah. They said it was a nearby state, but they couldn't, they can't give you details.
Yeah.
But he was actually on life support for just over a day, I believe. And so that actually afforded us a little bit more time to get things
situated.
settled,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really believe in everything happens for a reason. And just the timing of it really made it happen so perfectly together. The timing that made it so I was able to get the kidney, that they had time to say goodbye to their loved one, and it was transported in a way that it just all worked out really well because of that. So it was always hard for me to imagine getting a cadaveric transplant, because being excited about a life-changing thing for me, I'm sure you know what that's like.
See, and Christina's second one, when was the date of that one?
My second was May 7th of 2016.
Oh.
And hers was a cadaveric. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So you understand the feeling.
Yep, and mine came out of state. All that stuff. I swear we could be twins.
Seriously.
Yeah. What's your birthday?
It's July 16th.
I was going to say, if it was March 22nd, I was going to die.
Well, you never know.
Right?
Separated at birth.
Yeah.
So you and you guys, you had that transplant, both of them at Inno Mountain?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
And that's a hospital in Salt Lake City,
Yep.
Murray, but in Utah.
Yeah, Murray.
And so then Ryan, I guess, slid into your DMs?
Sort of.
So how did
that all happen?
Yeah, so we met on a dating app called Hinge in November of 2017.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Both of us were kind of over the dating app thing, and Hinge was, from both of our perspectives, sort of like the last thing we were going to try online, and then,
And are you still in Utah at this point?
No, I'm in Milwaukee. We live in Milwaukee.
Cool.
So when did you move to Milwaukee?
So 4 years ago, we had been dating for about 6 months, and he was able to transfer with Delta. He works for Delta for 10 years now, and he was able to transfer out here. And I love Utah. It's beautiful, but I kind of felt stuck there for so many years because of my health stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, you know what that's like. So I just was like, hell yeah, let's go wherever. I'll go wherever. And he's from here. So when he got that opportunity, we were like, let's do it. I'm ready for an adventure. My kidney was doing well.
Awesome.
Yeah, live it up, right?
Yeah.
So how has your transplant been since then?
So it's been really good. I'm really fortunate to have found a doctor out here who's like one of the very best transplant doctors. I go to a hospital here that's a medical college, and Ryan's mom is a nurse and happened to know the nurse for this nephrologist that she said was the best. He wasn't taking new clients, but long story short, she had the the in.
Yeah.
And got me into him, and I feel super lucky. He's really been on top of all of my stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they check the antibodies regularly and are really on top of it. I've had to do one biopsy to check for rejection, but there was no rejection.
That's awesome.
So I feel super lucky. It's just like, you get infection, or you get sick easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still on anti-rejections?
Yeah, I'm on the generic for, what you call it?
Oh.
I'm on tacrolimus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, just that one?
No, well, tacrolimus, I'm actually on a whole bunch of stuff. This
Yeah.
has a thiaprine or something.
Pretty much a handful of pills, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big handful of pills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the biggest things that I had to get used to was the amount of pills that Christina goes through. And
Yeah.
I would just, I met her when her kidney was good. And
Yep.
I remember just giving her this handful of pills, and it was
Kind of
just like,
shocking.
it was just like every day for her. So,
Yeah.
And like I'm sure you know, there were no generics back then.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. In
So
fact,
it was pricey.
Yeah. So when I had my first transplant, I was actually going through a divorce at the same time, moving back home to live with my parents, and couldn't work anymore. It was kind of dire, the situation I was in, and so it was kind of scary. I was only like 27 when I got my transplant, I think 26 something, and I didn't know what I was doing, and the fact that it got so expensive because I wasn't working, I missed some doses for sure.
Yeah.
I just felt really out of my, I don't know, I definitely matured since then. I think I can't really go back and say I should have done
Yeah.
this or that, because I just was so overwhelmed.
You did your best, and that had to be good enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was
Had to
the
be.
same way, and I remember when I found out I was going in rejection, I was so relieved because that month I had tapped out like my 4th credit card. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, I don't have to pay for them anymore. Which
Wow.
is just, it's horrible that people go through that.
That's really horrible. Nobody should have to experience that. The cost of these drugs is insane.
well, and people don't understand that, okay, you're complaining about like one prescription, but yet multiply that by 25.
Yeah.
right.
Because they all kind of add up. And we actually had one that said it was being covered by insurance, but it wasn't, and it cost us like $241 a month. But then I realized, I found out that it was the computer systems with Walgreens, and it was kicking it out automatically. But it was telling the computer that it was billing it. So that was a whole headache, and we actually get it for free now because of insurances and all that stuff. But it's little things where I had to stay on the phone for like 3 days almost just to attempt to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when when you don't have a support system, just imagine the people that are having to do that on their own. Because, I mean, for me, my family is like super support. I'm super lucky to have my support system, and Ryan is very aware and there for me and everything. But when we first moved to Milwaukee, I lost my Medicare, and I didn't know.
Oh.
I didn't know. So all of a sudden, I go to get my meds, and they were like $300 for one and $150 for another, and I'm like, what is going on? And I didn't realize that they had started charging me a premium for Medicare because I was no longer on Social Security.
Yep.
Yeah, because you're magically healthy. So
Yeah. So I apparently don't need it anymore. And so I had to, and when I contacted Medicare, they were like, well, you owe us $2,500. So you have to pay that and then pay your monthly premium, which I'm like, how in the world am I supposed to do all this?
yeah.
Wow.
And there are programs, but it's just...
The programs are a joke.
Well, and all of the programs, and you have to know an in, you have to know an out, and I made a reference on the group just like a week or two ago that I understand why old people go home and die, because they just kind of give up, and it's like, I can't pay $500 for this. I can't be on hold with this person for 3 days, and luckily
feels impossible.
It really is, and it's a messed up system.
It really is.
So let's bring Ryan in. So was there ever an issue with knowing that she had a kidney transplant or the possibility of rejection? I already know your answer.
Yeah, it's the dreaded question.
Because I get it all the time. But
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna have to probably say no to that. I'm a diabetic, type 2 diabetic myself, so I know the challenges of that kind of stuff and what can happen, and it's just not your choice whether it happens or not either. So
Yeah.
it's just life. It happens.
right, and that's what I kind of tell them is, well, I fell in love with her not because of the kidney, it was because of her.
Oh.
And if it happens, it happens, and unfortunately it did. But it is what it is. So
Yeah, I always felt like when I started dating again, and I was waiting for my transplant, and then I got a new transplant. It was like I felt like it was a disclaimer I had to give to people, like, just so you know, and also I can't have children. It's just not safe because of
Yep.
the second kidney. Yeah.
Yep, it's true.
And so that felt like there are all these drawbacks to being with me, but Ryan never. It was like he shrugged at it. It was like there was no bearing whatsoever on our future because of that.
Yeah, that's
See,
amazing.
and that's awesome because, and like I said, it's almost an insulting question of, well, how did you handle it? And I'm like, well, it's just kind of life. We take the next day and the next day, and it's weird that you say there had to be a disclaimer because I think Christina had the same thing.
Yeah.
And I remember her rambling some stuff off, and I'm just thinking, well, you're freaking hot, so I don't really care.
That's just one of the things. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
There
one
you
of the
go.
many.
Yeah, hopefully, right?
Yeah, just kidding.
So,
Well, it also didn't bother me because I was also facing my own mortality with knowing I'm a diabetic and something can go wrong anytime,
Yeah.
any place as well. And
It's
I
so
could be in the
true.
and I could be in the same situation. So
Yeah, my daughter's a type 1 diabetic, and it was like my biggest fear coming true because I knew there was a possibility she would live my life. And so I studied everything I could, and I put in as much work as I could because it truly is, whether you're type 1 or type 2, it's so dangerous on a daily basis.
very much so.
Yeah.
especially on your kidneys, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just one of those
Mine-
where I have
mine
become
is
so
like,
observant. So,
Yeah.
My kidneys, thank God, are 100% very functional, very well done. They've tested them multiple times.
There you go.
so-
That's good.
But he's got other things that we have to be really careful about, like his feet, this
Right.
sort of thing. So it's
Yeah.
just, I think because we both have things we have to be so careful about, we understand each other, and there's no concern that I'm frustrated with his, limitations, or that
Yeah.
he's frustrated with my limitations. It just is what
And
it is.
it kind of gets to the point where it's not really a limitation anymore. It's just life.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So, what kind of dialysis are you doing? Oh, wait, you're not. You got a
yeah,
kidney.
she's not. She's actually healthy as hell right
Well,
now
heck,
and just
that's awesome.
living your life. You just recently got married. And, I mean, your story is absolutely amazing. And the fact that you and Christina probably crossed paths numerous times.
I'm
I
sure.
bet we have.
You both had transplants basically about the same time.
Yeah.
You were both at Mountain, and she was actually in the process of changing to U of U when she
Yeah.
got her transplant. I hear you contacted the family
Yeah.
of your transplant, of your donor.
Yeah.
How did that go?
No. So that was a really hard thing to do. I don't know if you've experienced this, Christina, or if you have reached out, but the thought of contacting them was really hard for me because
Because
how
what do you say? What do you say, really?
Exactly. What do you say? Like, every year I celebrate when I got my kidney, and that is the most horrible day of your life.
Yep.
So it's like, so it took me 2 years to write it.
Okay.
And I was with Ryan when I did, and he, I finally just kind of sat down and said, okay, I want to contact them, and I wrote something and had him read it, and he was very supportive and everything. I just wanted them to know how much I understand that their grief is overwhelming, and that I was very aware of their situation and what they were going through at the same time. I was excited about my kidney, that I always had them on my mind.
Yeah.
And they responded fairly quickly. I think it was only a couple of months, and you have to go through a social worker.
Yep.
At Intermountain, and I was living out here at the time, so I was just, kind of waiting on pins and needles, and they reached out. The social worker reached out and gave me their response, read it to me, and then sent it to me in the mail. But they also said, please reach out on social media, so I was able to do that like immediately. And
that's amazing.
They're like my second family. She's my kidney mama, I call her, and she reaches out all the time. They live in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Wow.
That's awesome. And like you said, it's hard to celebrate, yet
something so sad.
Right.
Yeah.
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 It's true, especially when it's this 25-year-old that had so much life to live. That's something that it kind of hits you. And I decided, I actually did a spare the moment thing, and I had ordered a keychain that said, because of you I live. And I knew I was going to write a letter, but I knew I couldn't put my return information on it.
Yeah.
Because with my first kidney, it was my big brother, and I lived with so much guilt.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over the idea that he now can have my problem. And that was a lot for me. And so I almost kind of felt like mentally my body caused that kidney to reject, because I was so overwhelmed by it. And it became like a daily thing for me. And
I totally understand that.
Yeah, and so on the second one, I knew that I could not get that story. I could not hear about the person, and because then all that would have just started again. And so I had this keychain that I kept with me all the time, and I randomly, when I was at one of my doctor appointments, said, I just want to write the letter now. Like, I want to do it. And so I knew I was rejecting at that time. So I felt, again, there's guilt there. And so I just kind of put my heart out there. I put that, all the things I had gone through, and that I was a single mom, and just all those things, and just told them that they'll never understand the gift they gave me, and kind of the same stuff. Like, I'm so sorry for your loss, and like, it's kind of...
No matter how long that kidney lasted, they gave you life and time.
Yeah.
And I understand, because when I found out my dad's kidney that I got rejected, it was the most devastating. I felt so much guilt, like you said. I felt guilt, and like I had let him down, like in the biggest way you could ever
in
imagine.
Such a huge way.
Yeah, and I just remember, bawling my eyes out and crying to him and saying, I'm so sorry. And he's like, look, I don't care if it lasted 10 minutes, 10 days, 10 years, whatever it was. I am, glad that I gave that to you, whatever that gave you, freedom for that amount of time, you know what I mean?
And that's exactly how my brother was. And he was like, I don't care. I don't care how much you got out of it. And I rejected to the point where I had to go get it removed. And
really?
Yeah, both of my transplants I had to get removed. And my first one, that was a lot of mental on me, because they were pulling my brother's kidney out and gonna throw it away.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's just so hard, mentally processing that.
Yeah, it's not as simple as like your body's trying to accept the kidney and hold on to it. I believe that there's a mental aspect to it, or like an energetic aspect maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't fully ever, subconsciously or mentally accept my dad's kidney, and which is why I think part of the reason maybe why it was rejected, it was like I had a really hard time integrating that or something.
Yeah, I've always thought the same way. Like, every time I saw my brother, like, if he coughed, if he gained weight, if anything that happened, if he lost weight, I'm like, what are you doing, and he's this stubborn guy who doesn't want to go to the doctor. And so I'm trying to push him to go, and it was just, it was terrifying on my end.
Yeah. It's a neat experience to have a family member give you a kidney, but there's a lot of, like, complicated emotions that go with it, too.
Yeah, it's such a good bond, but, yeah, if it doesn't work out, nobody tells you what to expect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or they might try to, but
you're not going to get it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true.
How long did your second kidney last?
My second kidney lasted a total of like 2.5 to 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? And did diabetes? Is that what caused your rejection?
No, so I don't have diabetes. I have a strain of nephritis, and when I was pregnant, I got toxemia, and had seizures and lost my kidneys, and so I'm legally blind, and I went in kidney failure. And so both kidneys we removed tested positive for nephritis. So my disease actually killed both kidneys.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's why we're in the process. Well, that's why we're at U of U now.
We're hoping they know something Intermountain doesn't.
Yeah, before we accept another kidney, it's one of those. We want to get into final diagnosis because hers is a strain of nephritis, but they don't really know which one it is.
Yeah.
So
forever they thought it was C3 globin because that's kind of what it was showing. And so after I got my brother's kidney, they're like, oh, wait a minute, it's C3 globin. You might have to have a cadaveric transplant. So then that's why we went that route, because I had multiple siblings that were still matches. But so we went that route, and then after I rejected that, they at Intermountain, they were like, well, maybe your strain, you can't have a transplant. And it's just kind of all guessing.
Yeah, so I completely know where you're at, because I was like 5.5 years waiting for a transplant, and I heard that there was a better chance if I went through the University of Utah.
Yeah.
And so I was in the process of switching over to them to get more on their program, just because I had heard Intermountain had some limitations that the U of U didn't.
Yeah.
Besides that, I had heard that there's an artificial kidney that was coming out, which is
they put that one up quite well when we looked it up, and I hope it gets pushed through, but we probably won't see it in our lifetime. So,
I know.
And it's a shame because it's right there. It's right there, and all because of government tape and limbo.
But I think at the same time, like, a lot of us kidney patients, we're starting to speak out about this. We're not staying at home and just doing it by ourselves like it was in the past. And so people becoming kidney advocates and actually going to Washington and actually putting up a fight against these pharmaceutical companies, and saying, this is not good enough. So truly, I think all of us as patients, we have the ability to make that difference.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Because nothing changes if no one speaks up, if we're just happy with the status quo.
Yeah. Before, nobody knows they're going to be in kidney failure, so they're not going to go and fight the pharmaceutical companies. But we know, hey, we're living this. Let's make it better.
For the people.
And Christina has quickly become a face of dialysis and kidney failure, and I can see them inviting us to Washington just to show the story of, I want to take a bag of pills and just plop it down and be like, hey, this is $1,000 right here. How fair is that? Just little things like that, or even your story of how many pills you're still taking, yet they list you as healthy.
Right.
And it's little things like, yes, you are healthy and you're thriving.
You are doing a treatment. It's just like dialysis or PD or the home hemo. These are all treatments. Nothing will take away your disease. So the fact that you have chronic renal failure, that doesn't change because you got a kidney.
No, it doesn't. It's a chronic disease that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And everything's really sort of feels like life support. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're so right.
Dialysis really is basically life support. It's a terrible replacement or stand-in or whatever, and then you get a transplant, and it's still not.
Yeah, you're still not 100%.
Yeah, and like I got norovirus last year, which is a really horrible stomach bug that became chronic, and I lost like 50 pounds, and they were like, well, this is going to affect your kidney because, you know, it causes really bad bowel stuff. And so I couldn't hold on to fluid, I couldn't eat, I lost all this weight, and then they had to change my immune suppressants because it's just a constant balance of we need your body to fight this disease, but
not this one.
Kidney.
And that's kind of why we finally gave up on trying to save the kidney, because it finally got to a point where, okay, we're pumping so much crap into her. What are we doing to the rest of her body?
Yeah.
Then and hopefully you guys never have to experience that. But it's like one of those. Yeah. When do you make that decision and say, okay, I am being overtaken by this disease, but yet I'm trying so hard to save my kidney.
Yeah. And what's the quality of life?
Yeah, it's an internal battle of, okay.
I got this person's kidney. You know, I need to do everything I can to fight to save it. But at the same time, how willing are you? Like, I was on chemo for probably about a year.
Wow.
And, I lost chunks of my hair. I had to go in and do the pink haircut. Just take it all off, you know, and let it start again. And, and that was all. I did everything I could to save that kidney. And it was heartbreaking when we decided this is enough. We can't do it anymore.
Right, because it's killing you at the same time. So it's just, I completely understand that. When I first found out my kidneys were failing back when I was in my 20s, they put me on copious amounts of prednisone.
Oh, no, you had FFS.
What's that?
So me and my daughter would always joke and say I had fat face syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so we'd say it all the time, like, I'm sorry, I'm suffering from FFS right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's the worst. I had terrible side effects. Like, I even, at one point, heard voices in my head.
Aww.
Like, the side effects are so, just horrible. My body was just, like, ravaged by it. I gained so much. Anyway.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah, and they were like, we're just trying to keep your kidneys from failing. And I'm like, I'm going to live like this for how long?
Yeah.
Just to prevent them from failing. So I stopped taking it and said, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah,
and
you had to.
I had to, because what's my life going to look like? I was in early 20s on this awful medication that can give you all these other issues.
It's so true. Did you ever get the buffalo hump?
You know what? I have a little bit of one because of my posture. Also, I don't know if it's posture or if it's, you know what I mean, or if it's the prednisone. But,
yeah, I got the buffalo hump.
Oh, man.
And I was super young, and I went into a doctor's appointment, and he was training this really good-looking young doctor. And he chose that time to say, if you look right here, this is a buffalo hump.
Oh,
and I'm just mortified. Like, yep, I'm going to be single forever. Like, it's never going to happen.
Oh, my gosh. You just have no shame after a while, or no. It's like, all right, everybody. You know, I was in the hospital at one point. They were removing my kidneys because they were causing seizures. Before my first transplant, I was having really horrible seizures. The last seizure I had, I lost my eyesight for 3 days.
Oh, my gosh.
So I got a tiny taste of what you experienced.
Wow.
Tiny.
Wow, that's so rough.
It was super scary. They had to, ultimately, my kidneys that were like 25% functional were overproducing this hormone that was causing it. So they had to take my kidneys out.
Wow.
So I'm in the hospital for that. Suddenly my blood pressure so it was making my blood pressure really high, which was causing this.
Yeah,
the
of course.
So when they took me in to take my kidneys out, right before I went in, my blood pressure dropped, and they were like, "Oh, we can't do it now. You don't need it." So I was in the hospital for 3 weeks while they were telling me, actually, you don't need it. After I've had 6 something seizures because of it, I'm like, guys, this is an anomaly. Anyway, being in the hospital for 3 weeks and
Yeah.
you know, having your boob pop out through the little pocket where they put the monitor, I'm just like, I don't have any shame anymore.
Yeah, it's
Like,
true.
Yeah.
It's true. I think if we all got together, we would have the most embarrassing, like, list of stories in the
my
world.
gosh. Yeah.
I think another reason why it's really easy for me to understand what she's going through is because as a diabetic type 2, I've been told since I was diagnosed that they don't really know why am I diabetic. I'm like an anomaly. So they've tried everything. I've tried every drug that they can give me. I've been on stuff, off stuff, on stuff.
Wow.
So I understand her journey and like
Yeah.
what everything, because they don't really know what's wrong with me either. They don't know
So
why.
you're both on a roller coaster.
See, and
Yeah.
and when
I'm not the typical patient.
yeah, and when I first met you guys, I had absolutely no idea that this backstory existed. You know, and it's the same thing with us. Where you look on Facebook, you see the picture, and you just see a happily married couple, which you guys are, but you guys have so much backstory
Yeah.
and so much trauma, you know,
It's true.
and it's so weird because, again, you only see this this little perfect couple,
Yeah.
but yet there's so much in the background
Yeah, the
that people don't
obstacles.
understand.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really, and it's really interesting to hear, because I didn't know your story, Christina, at all.
Yeah.
I knew that there was like one of the pages says blind girl something,
Yeah.
and I just assumed that you were another transplant survivor, but I didn't know the whole thing. So
Yeah.
what you went through is amazing that you're here and that you have the attitude that you have, because from what I see on Facebook, you seem to be really just like living your life.
That's the goal. I think that
Yeah.
we all go through this to a point where we realize that, okay, this is our new normal. Let's make it work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I had a lot of people when I was going to doctors. I mean, I obviously still do, but when I was at my worst during those 6 years, I was on dialysis, and doctors would be like, "You're so smiley. You just seem so happy." And I'm like, "Well, what am I going to do?"
Yeah.
Right, and the nurses would say the same thing to Christina, and I'd pipe in and be like, "Oh, it gets annoying. Hold on," you know. And of course they laugh. "Oh, never, never." I'm like, "Oh, give it a second."
Yeah.
So I mean,
All the time.
and it's amazing how your guys' outlook is on life, and you guys are just so happy when you guys have every reason not to be. And
Right.
that I think that's what I find most amazing, especially about patients that are just out living on kidney disease or living on dialysis,
Or transplant.
any of that,
Right.
because you guys again have so much backstory and so many trials. Yet
There's a lot of reasons to feel despair.
Yeah.
But there are also more reasons to live your life.
I
to the
agree.
fullest.
and that is exactly how we are right now. Is God forbid something happen, we're going out with a smile. So
Right. Yeah.
Going out on top.
Yeah, exactly.
all right, so
That's amazing.
we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and we always finish it. And I know you're not on dialysis, but how are you out living?
With kidney failure.
Oh, well, one of the things that is so hard when you have treatment all the time, that we talked about before you started recording, is being able to travel when you are tethered to a machine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, since my transplant, my goal has been to just like go and do as much as possible and travel as much as possible. And we're lucky that we have Ryan works for Delta, and so we're able to kind of take advantage of that benefit. So we're just we do a lot. You know,
awesome.
not, you know, we do spur of the moment stuff, things that, you know, we will go eat as whatever we want, to try new things and enjoy that, travel,
Absolutely.
hike, that kind of thing.
Hey, I'm just throwing it out there that, like, you know, we're in Utah. Like, you might want to come home, see the fam or whatever. Like, we're here.
Well, they're not there anymore, but...
Oh, dang it.
Well, you know what? Those cruises and those traveling, so anytime you guys want company, you let us know.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, ditto. If you ever want to come feel the crisp Milwaukee air.
Absolutely. We'll go have a beer there and have some coffee. So.
Heck yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. It's been so nice talking to you guys. I feel really honored that you invited us and to have heard more about your story.
Well, I just want to wrap this up, and you guys are amazing. Ryan, you're freaking awesome.
Yeah, you guys are both just such an amazing duo.
So, again, this is Michael.
And Christina.
And we're checking out.
Hey, bye, guys.
Alright, so we went to see Halloween Ends, and I wasn't able to see the previews, but here is the trailer for Halloween Ends.
It's been 4 years since Michael Myers vanished without a trace. Hello? I saw him watching me. You pretend like you moved on, but you're actually just obsessed with death.
What are you gonna do when Michael comes back for you? Because he is coming.
But this time, something feels different. He's more dangerous. Tonight, I will kill him. Come and get me. Maybe the only way he can die is if I die too. It all ends now. You came here to kill me, so do it.
Alright, 4 years after her last encounter with masked killer Michael Myers, Laurie Strode is living with her grandmother trying to finish her memoir. Myers hasn't been seen since, and Laurie finally decides to liberate herself from rage and fear and embrace life. However, when a young man stands accused of murdering a boy that he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that forces Laurie to confront the evil she can't control. Halloween Ends, this is exactly what you think it is. I mean, it's a Halloween movie, and I don't know how many times he can die. This might be the last time. Who knows? It made a lot of money, so he'll probably die again. But the problem I had with one of the problems I had with this movie is how young Jamie Lee Curtis looked. She looked absolutely amazing. She looked amazing. But in the last one, she looked like an old grandma. And then something happened, and she looked young and peppy, and but it was good. Lots of gory blood scenes. The first scene where the guy gets accused of murdering the kid he's babysitting, that was pretty gruesome, so be ready for that. But if it's a Halloween movie, I'll watch it again on Halloween. I'll watch it again next Halloween. It's just a good movie, so go see it. See you guys. Alright, this is Michael Gilchrist with Living on Dialysis, and Christina's not going to be part of this one, and she had a death in the family, Dallas, and he passed away last night on the 20th of October, and she had a really good bond with him. He suffered from a whole lot of medical as well, so him and Christina would talk a lot, and so yeah, he ended up passing away. He was actually the lead singer of Artwork, and he had a pretty good career there for a little while. Toured around a whole bunch of places and had the heavy metal lifestyle that went with it, and it's just cool. He was just a cool guy. But I wanted to talk about medical illusions, and the reason I wanted to talk about this was because of the person, Karen, that we interviewed. She had a story that was so similar to Christina's. I had absolutely no idea when I started interviewing her, and it amazed me how similar Christina's story was to Karen's. 2 transplants, the handful of pills. She went blind for a little while, and when you see the outside picture, like the picture on the podcast, you just see this happy, newly married couple, and they're on cloud 9. But if you start peeling back those onions, and you see 1 transplant, 2 transplants, rejection. She rejected her own dad's kidney, and the trauma that comes with that, because I know Christina, she beats herself up over rejecting her brother's kidney, because you always ask yourself, was there something I could have done? Did I destroy this? Is my brother now walking around with 1 kidney, possibly not healthy enough because of me now? And it sucks. Same with when you get another kidney, especially the living donor one or the cadaveric one, where you are so happy you're getting a kidney. You are partying it up every year because you have a kidney anniversary. But at the same time you're partying, you've got another family that is just so devastated because they lost a loved one. And it's hard because you are happy as hell that your wife or friend or whoever has whoever knows how long, and yet another person lost their son, their daughter, their loved one. And that's why I want to ask if everybody isn't an organ donor, be one. Because we all know, we don't know when this life is going to end. But we do know that we can continue our life because of somebody. And because of organ donation. My sister, she was mentally handicapped, but my parents donated out absolutely everything they could. And I'm happy that, who knows, maybe to this day, somebody's walking around with her corneas. But the medical illusion thing, if you look on, the people that listen to this, I'm sure you've looked at Christina's Facebook page or group, and if you haven't, look up Blind Chick Living, and you can just see all the fun stuff that Christina has, all the fun stuff that we've been doing. You know, and it's hard because at work, most 99% of what people see is what we want them to see on Facebook and stuff like that. So at work, I'm late, or I happen to not come in, and it's gotten to where nobody even asks me anymore because it's just the norm. But Christina, go.
Hey guys, welcome to Christina's Crazy Corner. We got a big old group this week.
Yep, we have Susie, Sneeza Chew, Thacker.
Hi guys. That is not my name.
And then we have Jeff. We got Jeff, and we got Amber, and Scott, and of course the amazing Christina and Mike. So we're gonna actually do some Michael Jackson Thriller facts, and basically it's because we're going to the Odyssey production of Thriller. It's been a tradition of mine and Sadie's for close to 20 years. I can't think of a year that we didn't go. And it was kind of like Ogden Christmas Village. It was just something that no matter what we did. And even if I couldn't afford food or anything like that, we made sure that we got these tickets. So it's cool that we will actually continue.
Okay, get on with it.
So, Odyssey Dance Theater, after a 28-year mission, it is actually the last time they're ever doing it. And they're going on like an LDS mission or something like that. So, yeah, this is the last year that they'll ever do it. So, I figured since tonight we're going to talk about the famous album Thriller by Michael Jackson and some train facts that you might not know about him.
Awesome.
So,
that intro was so long.
Well, you know what? You want to do it?
Yeah.
All right, then
No,
you should have.
Because Mike talks a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. All right, so Jackson was inspired by the Nutcracker Suite for the album Thriller. Yeah, while he already had a popular solo album and a career and all that, and he actually wanted Thriller to resemble Tchaikovsky suites. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
He also told his musicians to think like Michelangelo.
Huh. Oh.
So he would tell them before they start playing. He would tell the instrumentalists and everything to picture Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapels.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And it was produced by Quincy Jones.
Yes. And the album's title was almost called Midnight Man.
Really?
Yep. The composer actually wrote down 200 to 300 possibilities. And one night he woke up and the name Thriller popped in his head. And that he just basically pictured that on billboards and stuff like that.
Wow.
And that's why I got the name.
Cool. I got one.
Okay.
Vincent Price was only paid $1,000 for his part in it.
Oh my
which
gosh.
Is pretty cool.
That is actually
Not
right.
cool for
and
him.
He was actually offered part of the royalties instead of the $1,000, and he didn't think it was going to take off. So
Oh, you're kidding.
he got paid. And Vincent Price, if you don't know who he is, he was an old-time actor that did a lot of voice work and stuff like that.
Wow.
So another one is the original song Thriller was originally going to be titled Starlight.
Why?
Starlight is just not the same.
No, and
This is Starlight.
well, and the lyrics would go, "You need the starlight, some starlight sun," and Thriller is in place of that. So yeah,
I feel so much better.
Jackson was sued for wannabe starting something. It is actually a Hawaiian band or something like that, and the phrase "Mama ka sa," Jackson changed it to Mama si Makasa. and so he had to pay a whole bunch of royalties. It was a settlement out of court.
Oh, interesting.
Let's see. Billie Jean was actually about a specific woman.
Oh, yes, I really.
Yeah, it was based on a girl who climbed on his wall one morning and accused him of being the father of one of his twins.
Just one of them.
Just one, which is weird. I mean, so
one of the twins.
I think that just means.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
So yeah. And Billie Jean almost killed Michael.
Whoa!
In his autobiography, Jackson wrote at the time he was driving his Rolls Royce down the freeway for a recording session, and he started thinking about the song so much that he almost wrecked the car and almost burst into flames. So
Yeah, my God.
a kid on a
Like
motorcycle.
smoking or something.
Yeah, a kid on a motorcycle actually warned him before he actually was in the wreck or whatever.
Wow.
I thought you meant like Billie Jean, the woman almost killed him.
I thought so too.
Oh.
No,
Yeah,
it was the song. He was thinking about his music.
He can't blame the woman. That's all him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, whatever. Let's see. Eddie Van Halen played the guitar solo to Beat It.
Really?
Yep. He played a solo because the rest of his bandmates were out of town that day.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh my God.
He didn't think any of the group.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he didn't think any of the group would know that he did a solo performance for him.
way.
Yep. And CBS Records and MTV clashed over the name Billie Jean, over the Billie Jean video.
Why?
Well, back then, MTV claimed that they were only a rock artist group, where they would only play rock music.
And he was pop.
And they had a battle with Rick James at that time, and Rick James made MTV look like this big racist company and all that stuff.
Oh no.
When MTV was basically just, no, we're only playing rock music. So Rick James started this whole suing thing and all that stuff, and CBS basically said, if you do not put Michael Jackson's Billie Jean on, we will pull all of our music.
Well, they were going to sue him for being racist.
Yep.
Whoa.
Let's see, another one.
The Blood and Crips were in there.
Yeah.
Cameos.
Yep, they were actually. The Thriller music video cost $500,000.
Whoa. That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The Showtime cable network footed $300,000 of it if they had to show the music and the making of the music.
Whoa.
And MTV paid the rest. And an American Werewolf in London, they wanted him to turn into a monster and all that stuff, and they had to put a disclaimer before the video saying that this is not real and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
And that a whole bunch of people said that Thriller endorsed Satanism.
Of course.
Well, I remember talking to Michael Jackson because of the barcode on his album.
Yep. Well, and that's actually one too, that many fans thought the UPC code on the album that you bought was Michael Jackson's phone number.
What?
Yep. So a whole bunch of people would call that number, and
Who did it go to?
it went
I talked
to
to
a
Santa
woman
Claus.
in Youngstown, Ohio,
Oh.
and she said the kids and all that were really nice, but there were some adults that were pretty mean to them.
Oh.
Let's see, and Thriller video played in a movie theater just so it would qualify for an Oscar.
Oh. Wow, that's
It
crazy.
played for 1 week in California.
Did people go see it? Like, did it make money?
I don't know.
I'm sure people.
It didn't sit well with a lot of parents because parents didn't like Michael Jackson music back then.
Yeah,
Silly.
but he was so popular. I'm
I
sure
know.
people went to see it.
All right, so that is Christina's Crazy Corner.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Stop on this.